So I ended up taking no trades at all today. Very interesting price action. So we'll start off with news today, actually, which we basically had none. There's no high impact news today. Obviously, we see 3 yellow folders means literally nothing. So I'll remove all these drawings and go through what I was looking at. So morning session, we open up and mainly was concentrating. My bias was fairly bearish, but I was concentrating on these relative equal highs. Now this was kind of like London session high, Asia session, or London session high ish internal range here. Was just looking for something to get swept, right? We didn't really get any of that, either on Nasdaq or ES, and I was fine with either of it happening. Obviously, with it having happened on either ES or Nasdaq, I was fine with it happening on either because I knew we were gonna go fairly bearish today. But just the way it delivered was really bad. So on ES, which is what I was mostly looking for, we came in, we swept out London session lows fairly quickly with the New York session. Obviously, you see by the time market opened, 5 minutes after market opened, we swept those lows. Now at that point, I figured we were going to continue to go lower because there was no bullish momentum forming. Obviously, you see we only saw one green candle for until 10:10, which was all bearish. Now I really had no order flow continuation here. There was no inverse fair value gap. There was no, there was a ton of breaker blocks. This being the main one that was prominent was this 5-minute breaker block that we formed, and we closed below with a ton of momentum. Other than that, I like to see an inverse fair value gap. I like to see something else. Other than that, we kind of just fell off, and it was really weird. We did have this fair value gap. I do remember seeing this bullish fair value gap forming. The problem is these wicks. So usually when you see wicks this size, right, we see big wick here, big wick here, big wick here, big wick here, just straight up doji candle. A lot of times this means there's not going to be a lot of volume delivered in the market. I've seen this the past few times I've gone to trade. When you see this, this just looks terrible. There's nothing to go off of here. So I'm not even really looking to take a trade at this point just because I knew price action was so bad. We did see this bullish for value gap form, and I thought there was a chance there was going to be a reversal here. Obviously, I didn't get too excited and enter a trade or anything, but I thought there was a chance we were going to get a reversal. The big thing I was looking on the reversal part was going to be on the 5-minute here. We had this really, really nice bearish order block right here, right around really early in the New York session. So I was looking for price to close above this. Wow, I don't know why this moved over here. I was looking for price to close above that, and then we have these relative-ish equal highs here. So I was looking for price to close above that, and then we would have a pretty sick reversal. So we had this breaker block, this 5-minute breaker right here, and then get a closure below it, and then target these two highs right here. But obviously that was not the case. We went the complete opposite direction, which I was fine with. Obviously, I'm never married to a bias. I'm never mad if my bias is wrong. I figured we were going to go lower by this time anyways. So, it was just hard to find an entry. Really wasn't any entries. Obviously, on the 5-minute, there's no retracements or anything, right? We're not filling these fair value gaps in and going lower. We're just going down. We're just ripping down. And that's really hard to trade. Obviously, you're kind of just hoping that it's going to go lower at some point. I'm 100% with order flow. I think order flow works great. I've used it a couple times, and it works great. I'm okay with reversals. I've used reversal before. Reversals work. This is hard to catch, right? There's not a lot of fair value gaps. This is like the one fair value gap we made that we saw anything get played off of for a long time, right? The next fair value gap, like we're not even making a move off of a fair value gap on the 1 minute until, we see this one get filled in right here, which honestly got completely inversed with decent amount of momentum that I think a lot of people probably got faked out on because we did have a ton of bearish imbalance that needed to get filled in. So I thought there was a chance we could have finally seen a reversal here because I just had this tab open over here. I wasn't really looking at it. And then obviously you see we continued to dump down. So not until 10:40 did we see something happen, right? Like a fair value gap, right? A breaker block, something. It wasn't until 10:40 that we see something. So that is really hard to trade, right? This is just you sending a hope and prayer up, entering around anywhere within here. I can see relatively in here, right? We inverse this fair value gap. This could be, your sign to go. We did form a 5-minute breaker block. This could even be a 15-minute breaker block. But again, it is really, really, really hard to trade this when you just dump off, right? That's just at the end of the day, right? It's just really hard to trade. So, that's it for the day. There was no trades. Didn't see anything. A lot of bearish momentum, yeah, which is good, but it's just hard to take a trade off of it.